the idea that you can confidently put your hand up and go, yes, I am a creative person, people don't know what that means. They no longer believe in it or what to believe about it. So what value does it add? I've just come from a school, really inspiring school, talking about BIF 101, our next gen innovation program. I found it a really inspiring conversation, but it's a really tough conversation to have because I'm sort of presenting to educators or having a creative conversation with educators who know nothing about innovation, who know very little about the kind of creativity we're interested in. So not the artistic expression of people's creativity, although that's hugely important. Playing instruments, drawing, illustrating, graphic design tools, etc. That's not the kind of creativity I'm talking about. So half the conversation is taken up with having to better explain the kind of creative intelligence BIF is talking about. The neuroscience of creativity, the neuroscience of creative thinking, and how everyone has that capacity and how important that is in today's world, how we can support young students or senior students at school, but young people to be able to learn those skills, because solving problems creatively, creative problem solving, creating ideas that can potentially solve those problems, testing and developing those ideas to be better, iterating through experience to arrive at something finished that you can then write up and present as a finished proposition with maybe a model on it, with maybe a way that we've worked out how to make it happen, and then support that happening as we make the idea better and more ideas to support the idea becoming better and connecting with and solving what it needs to solve and tracking the impact and all of that great stuff. All of that is a learnt skill. 100%. That is a learnt skill. Now you can bring your innate creative intelligence, once you reconnect with it, you can bring that intelligence and have it bear, apply it wherever that needs to be through the innovation process, yes. But first you need to reconnect with it. You need to develop new confidence in it and new, what we say, capacity to apply it and apply it with others. Because you're part of solving that challenge through innovation process. No one has everything required to do everything required to both, identify the problem and have some insight and create some ideas and test and develop them and make them happen. No one has all of those talents. We have to collaborate with other people. Therefore, BIF 101, a program that introduces the 3 disciplines of BIF innovation, new product development, process, innovating something new, people's capacity, unleashing people's creative intelligence, and being confident with it, and developing new personal behaviors to start nurturing it and reconnecting with it and being very curious about what's there and then feeding it and having it serve you. And then putting those 2 things together, applying it to get better, and then wrapping that around what we call the 3rd discipline, this idea of cultural purpose. Understanding in organizations how they have purpose and they have values and they have strategies and they have visions and missions and goals. And then innovating through the line of how they can support environments where people can work that way. If you can understand a lot of that conceptually and then start to apply it to yourself through a programmatic learning, you realize that everything you're talking about, whether it be your own purpose, getting clear on your own value set, the things that you believe, the things that are important to you, that can start to inform your decisions about your own strategies, about where you might go next. All of that stuff starts to coalesce and collapse into this thing we call BIF 101, such that, the goal of what BIF 101 does as a programmatic learning and doing exercise over about 10 weeks is, I often describe this wasn't my analogy, this was a CEO I worked with many years ago who said, You know, Matt, what we want to do is sort of like our organization is like a piece of rope, and we're going to unravel that rope to investigate each of those threads anew. And then we're going to, tightly wind that back together and make it stronger, such that when you look at us as an organization, yes, we're that rope again, but we've investigated each piece that make us, and therefore we can become, higher performing, etc., and go do what we need to do. Innovation 101 is the same thing. It breaks apart the constituencies of, innovation process and creative thinking and cultural performance into just vignettes of learning. What literally 101 drops of learning that asks these. No, the way we used it was Q&A, asking 101 questions of innovation, because that's what I got really interested in doing. How are we doing this work? What questions are we asking ourselves to do this work? From a 101, from that nomenclature of an introductory program, what is it that innovation is, and what is it that we do to go and solve those problems we're solving, and how do we do that better? That's what 101's about. And so what really inspired me was that I was talking to this educator, and of course, rightly, educators are head down in their curriculum delivering for their students. And what I'm there proposing is what skills, behaviors, knowledge, confidence, capacities, behaviors do we really need to be giving this next generation so that when they leave that learning environment, they are set up to go and thrive, whatever it is they do next. Now, for a lot of them, it will be tertiary learning. Into an academic institution, getting in massive debt, spending 3 or 4 years, further advancing the higher mind and the higher faculties. Is that a valuable thing to be doing? Of course it is. Of course it is. You can always be learning. Should they be investing 3 to 4 years of their lives and getting in massive debt? Absolutely no way. Can we be parceling and delivering those higher educational knowledge programs in different ways? Yes. And will they be? Yes, they have to be. Kids can't get in that much debt today. Neither can they spend that amount of time out of the working environment with this impact of AI coming in and laying waste to so many jobs and platforms and ways of working. They're going to have to be confident to be able to use those tools and experience those tools, and then experience how those tools are rapidly evolving week on week, month on month. Anyway, my point was, out of all of that, I drove away thinking, because down here in New Zealand, we had to apply to be able to work in schools and be funded to be in schools without doing it pro bono, which we're doing and which we're going to keep doing. You fall in under this thing called professional learning and development, which means schools can apply to unlock hours through the New Zealand Ministry of Education around professional development for educators. Brilliant, right? That's brilliant. Teachers should always be learning. All of us should always be learning. That's brilliant. So I'm approved, BIF is approved, to go in under this thing called local curriculum design, which means we've got to bend our programs into, 101's easy because it could be, it's a local curriculum of innovating local problems and experiencing what it's like to have a go at using innovation to solve those problems. That can be localized, so can all our other stuff. But what it really got me thinking was our beautiful fight being on behalf of sort of human creativity. The amount of enterprises we walk into where people are no longer confident in their creativity. You ask a team, is everyone here creative? Hands don't go up. People are unsure. They're embarrassed to say they're creative. Most of them, let's say 90% of them, right? The idea that you can confidently put your hand up and go, yes, I am a creative person. People don't know what that means. They no longer believe in it or what to believe about it. So what value does it add? So I was thinking about that driving home, about the size of the challenge. If we need to be really nurturing and developing our kids into this innate capacity versus catching them in enterprises and trying to give it back to them, it's more critical and urgent to do that today because of the threats we face. So what are those threats? I was thinking about this driving home. You can resolve the 3 mega crises into 3 things, right? AI, artificial intelligence. So anything that is robotic will be better done by robots. And anything that has pattern recognition at heart of it will be better done by AI, artificial intelligence, which is pattern recognition. And so what's left for us? For me, it's our creative intelligence. And we're going to keep talking to that and the reasons for that and why and what it is. So there's AI. The number 2 is mental health. And what I didn't get onto today, but driving home is saying, when we talk about mindfulness, when we talk about the importance of meditation, when we talk about the importance of sitting with yourself and letting the noise subside and reconnecting to deeper parts of yourself, that is a well-being exercise proven to bring about well-being results. So being more comfortable with yourself, better cognitive health, less stress, less worries, more resilience, more grit to carry on, etc. Now, why is that? For me, I see that through the neuroscience of the creative brain. And that's what I didn't get onto with that teacher today, but I should have and might have to start speaking to this. That one of the best reasons to understand the neuroscience of your creative brain is because it is mental health and well-being supportive. The time that you can spend outside of the beta brain, the noisy, busy brain that locks you into fast modes of thinking that can be anxious making, worries, negative self-talk, doubts, fears, all of those things can coexist in that really busy mental brain. When you start to reconnect with your creative brain, your slower, more thoughtful, more open place that is within you, the access pathway of getting to that place can be through the neuroscience of the creative brain. What's that called? It's called alpha, right? So there's other videos in here that speak about that. What is in that alpha space? So where we feel really limited, in the alpha space, we can feel unlimited. Where we feel small and fearful and anxious in the beta brain, in our alpha brain, we can feel full and whole. We talk about a flow state. You feel like suddenly you've connected to a new space where all things are possible again. Where positivity just feels like it's really hard to be scared in alpha. It's really hard to be fearful in alpha. You can't, because in that space of full creativity, things are infinitely possible. It's a place of potentiality. That's all it is. It's a place where everything is possible. If everything is possible, there's no other part of you talking down to yourself, making you feel more anxious, more worried, more fearful, more doubtful. It doesn't. Everything just feels possible. Therefore, it's wholly health and well-being making. So that's number 2. So number 1, AI, number 2, health and well-being, and number 3, of course, is the climate crisis. The amount, how we go about imagining, innovating, creating, making, reusing, repairing, the ideas that inform our lives, the role of those ideas in our lives, what happens with them when we're done with those ideas, how we create better ideas, how we be part of what we can call a grand global problem solving. That's the 3rd pillar. That's the 3rd crisis. So, you put AI together with mental health, the need for better mental health and well-being, together with the climate crisis, you've got 3 major macro global drivers of why creativity and innovation is so urgently needed by everyone today. We can't rely on the few creative geniuses who have managed to hold on to a bit of their innate creativity and are known as the sort of ideas people. There's not enough of them. There's not enough of them to impact and make the changes necessary that we need to be making in the world. There just aren't. It has to come from us all. We all have the capacity for it. We all have some part to play in this. And I guess what we're trying to do at BIF is to say exactly that, and then say, if you don't believe it, we'll help you believe it because we'll show you how to believe it. Come and take our programs. Come on the journey with us. Join us in our community that says your creativity matters. It's important. It's important for you. It's important within you. And then it's important for how you surface that and apply it in the world with others to go and, yes, become your best self, your best idea, your best version of you, but do the important work you're here to go and do, to have the impact that you can have, that we all can have, to go about and start to fix some of these fucking problems that we see in the world. Anyway, I was thinking about that, all of that, driving back about, meeting these educators that I've been meeting, going, oh, it's a big task. It's a big task we're taking on. I honestly don't know how we're going to scale it. I don't know how we're going to scale the impact we can have. I don't know how we help connect this story in the best possible way with all the resources we have to get it in front of the audiences we know need it, and then can go and do something with it with their charges. So what does that look like? Educate the teachers, teach the teachers, teach teachers who can go and teach teachers, and give them the skills and the resources and the programs that they can go and impact and deliver in their classrooms with their kids to help nurture kids into this capacity. That's the only way it's going to happen. We've been thinking a lot about our audiences. I've been delivering these parenting programs, and it's been a beautiful journey, coaching some parents and talking about their own creativity and how they can better parent for creativity in their kids. That's been super, super, unbelievably soulful, actually, and impactful. So there's more to be done there. But it's a journey. I was, driving home, I thought I just got to get and share some of these thoughts, because I guess what I'm not good at or haven't been good at, I think about these thoughts and I have these questions and think about how can I do better to serve more people with what we've got. And sit on these thoughts and then go, well, I'll go and see another teacher and I'll talk to that educator and I'll see if I can put it in that school, and then we're hustling over there and then trying to do, we're talking to some TV people about a TV version of that show over here, and we keep the plate spinning. But what I gotta say is start to be much more open with this and going, we need your help, right? To have the impact we want to have. If you're starting to lean in on this BIF, and I looked at how many subscribers we've got on our channel, and if that's a measure of impact, we are a long way from impact yet. So what have we got? 34 subscribers. And then I thought, well, I've only done 50 videos. It feels like I sit here a lot and spout this shit in here talking to, trying to do a bit of this video work, and you go, we need to have hundreds of videos, thousands of videos. We just need to be talking about this over and over and catching these experiences. So my commitment, as a reason of, why it might be worth signing up and following us on this channel, is I'm going to sit here and do this more. Every day I'm talking to a parent, an educator, an enterprising person, a new client, a new project coming up. Yurni and I are talking every day about tweaking the website and new products we've got and producing the books, and we've got this retailer, and I'm talking about this food, we want to create BIF Kids as a food brand, and that's all set up and ready to go, and so we've got to deliver that. And I just think we've got so many questions about how we could be doing better at getting this out there. And the only way that's going to happen if I start sitting down and talking to this in the way that I'd imagine I'd be talking to the BIF community and going, you guys have got answers. There's not many of us yet, but there can be more, because this is important work. A lot of the work of codifying this, we've done, right? Now it's about inviting people on board, having you go through our programs to join us, to learn some of the fundamentals of proven creativity and innovation. You'll get tons of benefits out of that for you personally and whatever you're doing in the world. And then perhaps together we might start to co-create how we can impact a much, much bigger audience and serve them in ways that can help serve us all. So If you've got any ideas, we'd love to hear them. Drop us a note, reach out. You'll find us contact details all over the place on the web. If this chimes with you, if any of this chimes, please let me know. If you want to know more around specific areas or think we should be speaking to specific themes or whatever, please, again, let us know. I'm inspired to keep going. I am up for the beautiful fight. It used to be a year, two, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, would come away from meetings like that and just go, it's too big. I don't think we can do it. Something about where we've got to, we're over that hurdle. It's fucking massive, right? It is a really big challenge, but we're committed to it. Got nothing else to do. This is the only fight we want to be having, and we've already come up with a lot of the solutions. Now we need your help to come with us and have those solutions have the impact they can have. So please come with, join up, tell us what we can be doing better. We can help you be better and do it with us. Cheers. Arawa.